right, welcome everyone. Settle in here and get ready. Coletta's going to get everyone in and we're going to get started right away. Good morning and welcome everyone to the Client Acquisition and Scaling family. I hope everyone had an amazing weekend. All you fathers out there, hope you had a fantastic Father's Day. And I hope you're ready to make your week even better. So welcome to the Monday Mindset. This right here is the place to be every single Monday morning, right? To feed your mind with tips and strategies and things to build and scale your business and be around like-minded business owners just like you on the same journey. It does matter when you hang out with people who are on the same path as you, because when you change your mindset, right? When you change your mindset, you change your business. And that's what Monday Mindsets are all about. If this is your first time and this is your first Monday Mindset, welcome. And please type first in the comments. And I do monitor the comments here on another screen. So type first in the comments so I know I have some new folks here. Also, if you're worried about missing these and you want to receive SMS reminders, you can get those. We remind people every single week, 10 minutes before this starts with SMS reminders. And if you want to get on that list, please type SMS in the chat or in the comments, and we will get that to you and show you where you can go to sign up for those. Okay, for my new folks who are here, and I often see new folks are kind of quiet. Don't be quiet. Jump in and talk and get in the chat and share your opinions and your comments, right? If you don't know me, my name is Lisa Parziale, and I own a 7-figure marketing agency with my partner, Colette, and we are in the North Texas area. Now, last week, we talked all about how to raise your prices and what you could do to earn more money for what you're already doing. Now, if for some reason you missed the post, we gave away a free guide that really walked through what we talked about with some good examples to help you kind of get going on raising your prices. If for some reason you missed getting that guide, please right now type the word raise in the comments and we'll make sure you get that guide. And remember, if you're watching the replay and we ask you to type things in the comments or in the chat, go ahead and play along because we do monitor it. And if you need something like SMS reminders or a copy of that guide, when you let us know, we'll get that to you. So that's very important. Now, today, I want to talk about, I think, what really kind of makes us go crazy in our businesses, right? Really, I want to talk about the number of hats, right, that you might be wearing right now in your business. And if you want to know what I mean by hat, it's the number of different jobs you are doing, the number of different roles you are playing within your company. And today I want to talk about how to stop that, right? More importantly, how to stop working so many hours in your business. I used to work, and I am not making this number up, I used to work 100+ hours every single week. And if you do the math on that, that's like 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's just no way to have a life. I did everything myself. I wore way too many hats. And really, I burned myself out. I started to hate my business and I literally wanted to quit, right? And one of the main reasons why is because I had no life. I had no downtime. I had no rest. I couldn't go on vacation because who would do the work if I was on vacation? I couldn't take weekends off because weekends are when I caught up when customers weren't calling me or I wasn't trying to close sales or I wasn't trying to get the work done. So I couldn't even take weekends off, right? I pulled my hair out trying to scale, which to me meant get more customers because money was going to solve my problems, right? Thinking that more hours were going to solve my problem. And unfortunately, it didn't. It didn't. I just got way more frustrated and way more stuck, right? I hit plateaus. No matter how much more money I made, it seemed like I, lost money, right? I lost clients. And the big reason was because I felt like I had to do every bit of that work myself. The fact is, more hours are only going to make matters worse. They're not going to make anything better. It's not about the number of hours I was putting in. It really was about the fact that I had no clue how to scale my business. And you simply can't scale just by working more hours. Unfortunately, I had no idea how to fix that problem. And you might feel the same way right now, right? I just work too much, right? I just work too much and I need to work less. So now I literally work less than 10 hours per week in my agency. Now, sure, I work more hours because I'm doing more things now, but literally in my agency, I tend to work 10 hours or less. In the business, I used to work 100 plus hours a week. I am able to go on vacation literally whenever I want. I take off most weekends, or on the weekend, I'm doing something I'm really passionate about. In the summer, so about 16 weeks in the summer, I take off every single Friday if I can help it, right? I literally don't want to work Fridays in the summer. Now, in the winter, it doesn't bother me as much. I don't know why. But in the winter, if I do work a Friday, I try to make it, all about me and getting my things done so I can take those weekends off. That's very important to me. And now I do everything I was missing for years, right? So remember, now I work about 5 to 10 hours a week in my marketing agency. What that allows me is time for my other passions, the things that excite me. Something I figured out, and we're going to talk about this in a second, something I figured out was I'm an entrepreneur and we like to build stuff. And you're probably the same way. We like to create stuff. We have big ideas. But the doing of the thing becomes daunting and boring, and it feels like a drudge, right? So before we get going, I want to make sure you guys are awake and you're listening. And if you're watching the replay, I want to make sure, you're excited. So who here on this call, who here watching the replay would like to work 800% less hours to earn more money? I want you to type 800% in the comments. And if you don't type that, I guess you're fine with the way things are, right? You're fine doing what you've always done and just keep doing it. Now remember, I was working 100 plus hours a week. I wanted to work 800% less, which would literally be around 5 to 10 hours a week, right? So type that in. All right, awesome. I'm seeing tons of 800%. One person put 80, typo. I know you meant 800. Awesome. Okay, so I know you guys are in, you guys are ready. So today I'm going to talk about what I did, what allowed me to work 800% less. Okay. Now the first step, the very first thing is I stopped wearing so many hats. We're going to talk about how I came to that, but that's the key here. And that's your secret today. You simply have to stop. You cannot be everything to everyone. It will wear you down and eventually you will quit. You will quit. There's nothing else you can do. Okay. So now I only wear one hat. I literally only wear one hat, and that hat is called the CXO. Now, if you're in one of our programs, you've heard of this, but I didn't really go into my story that I'm going to go into today and get into a little bit of the background. So if you're not familiar with a CXO, that is the Chief X Officer. And the X actually stands for every single thing I want in life. So the X is, I am the Chief Money Officer. I'm the Chief Vacation Officer. I'm the Chief Excitement Officer, the Chief Fun Officer, the Chief Family Officer. In other words, my job is to make me happy. My job is to make a life for myself and my family that we want. That's my job. My job isn't to build websites. My job isn't to SEO other people's stuff, and either is yours. Those are things that our companies do. And that is why I am the leader of my business. And so the CXO is the leader, the person at the helm who gets it done. But I notice I didn't say chief executive officer or president. No, those are workers. Those are still working positions. The CXO, I want you to think about, is the Richard Bransons, the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs, the type of people that, yes, they started their business in their garages and they worked it. But immediately and quickly, what they all had in common is they started bringing in key people, smart people, qualified people to do the things that they shouldn't be doing, because they were the big thinkers. They were, the leaders, the people that needed to focus on the overall thing that they were doing, right? And that's a CXO. That's what a CXO is to me. Now, lately, people have been throwing that term around as the chief experience officer. You know what? That fits. I'll take that. But what experience? Your experience. It's not about the customer's experience. This is about your experience. So today I'm going to share with you kind of a little story on how I transitioned from 100 plus hours a week to 10 hours a week. Okay. So lots of hats, and I took them off one by one. Who here is ready to take hats off? Like, who wants to drop at least one hat today? Type hat in the comments, right? I just want to make sure you're paying attention. I want to make sure you're ready. I want to make sure you're actually taking action. And believe it or not, the reason why, if you haven't realized this, I always ask you guys to type stuff in, whether it be in the group or in the chat or in the comments. It actually solidifies what you're hearing. It solidifies if you say, yes, I want to take hats off. When you write it down, you're committing to it. You're putting it out there in the universe. And that's why I asked you guys to do it. So don't be shy. I'm not seeing everybody type. I want everybody typing, everybody putting that in there. So don't be shy, type it in. Because as business owners, we often wear most of the hats in our business when we first start out, right? So what hats do you guys wear? And if I miss any, type them in. Or if there's ones you can think of right away, start typing them in. What hats do you wear? So I started thinking about when I first started, I obviously was sales. So I had to do sales, but sales meant lead acquisition, client getting. I had to figure out the methods. I had to work the methods, do the methods. Then I had to get the customers on calls. I had to close the calls. And then I became HR, right? So HR meaning, okay, so once the sale was closed, I was doing the contracts, I was doing the agreements, right? I was onboarding the customer. And when it came time to hire at some point, I was hiring, I was training. Notice a lot of I's here. And as you've always heard, there's no I in team. Oh, but then the customer had to pay me. So I was doing the accounting, I was doing the billing, I was actually doing my books in the beginning. Oh, now we've got to actually do the work. I developed and I created and I. All me, right? And let's say if the customers didn't pay, you had to do collections and you were doing everything, or at least I was. And maybe you still are. I was doing everything. You name it, I did it. I did it. And honestly, I thought, man, I'm awesome. I have such great work ethic. And I was doing everything, mostly by myself, right? I was afraid to hire. So I did everything. And there were many things, and we don't have time to get into all of those things in our program. If you're in the program, you've gone through, figuring all this stuff out, right? But literally, I was afraid to hire, and I was afraid to let anyone else do the things I was doing. Now, I'll be honest with you right now, whether you're watching live right here with me, you're watching the replay, if you're doing more than one role in your company, not only are you cheating yourself, you're cheating your customers. You're definitely cheating your family, right? Because we can't do everything. We cannot do everything. And I was doing everything. I was doing every single job until one day, literally, it like a big old light bulb went off. I understood I had to stop. I just had to stop because it was not going to get better. My life wasn't going to get better. My job wasn't going to get better. And certainly the paycheck wasn't going to get better. So I had to start delegating those hats, right? I had to start taking those hats off and putting them on someone else. And that's what I want you to envision today. You're going to take that hat off and you're going to put it on somebody else, okay? I want to help put this into perspective for you. I want you to imagine, whatever you're doing, stop right now. Pay attention. I want you to imagine this. I want you, even if you have to close your eyes, I want you to imagine this for a moment. You need to have a major surgery, and it's going to save your life, right? For whatever reason, you have to have this major surgery and it's going to save your life. Without it, you will die. Your surgery, it's scheduled, okay? It's scheduled for 8 a.m., but you're told, hey, get there. Get there at 5 a.m. So you get signed in, we'll get you prepped, we'll get everything going. Okay, perfect. So you show up. And when you get there, you walk up to the admin desk and there's the doctor sitting behind the desk. You're thinking, oh man, he's a great doctor. Look at him being all interactive. And that doctor is there to check you in. Okay, weird. But you get checked in. Perfect. And then when you're done, the doctor tells you, hey, go ahead and sit in the waiting room. Someone will be in to get you in a minute. Great. So you go into the waiting room, figure, hey, doc's going back there to get ready. About 30 minutes goes by, and here comes the doctor again. He's pushing a gurney. He says, hey, get up on this gurney. Jump up here. We're going to take you to surgery. And again, you think, weird. Why is this doctor doing this? But you do it, okay? And the doctor wheels you into the prep room and starts getting you prepped for surgery. Takes your temperature, gets all your vitals, right? Gets everything done, and then says, hey, go ahead and put your stuff on. I'll be right back. Leaves the room, and you go get your gown on, right? 10 minutes later, and bear with me here. Really, I want you to imagine this. 10 minutes later, here comes that same doctor and asks if you're ready. And you're like, yeah, I'm ready. Then he starts explaining the anesthesia process to you and tells you what he is going to do to anesthetize you. As you look around, you realize, well, isn't that an anesthesiologist's job? And then you start thinking, I haven't seen an anesthesiologist. And in fact, I haven't even seen a nurse. Like, the only person I've seen is this doctor since I arrived here. Weird, right? Weird. The doc is where you are today and where I used to be, right? He's everyone. He's doing everything, okay? So when you ask him, hey, doc, like, where is everyone? Where's everyone else? He says, well, there's no one else here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the whole surgery by myself because frankly, I'm better trained than anybody and I can do a better job than everyone else. So I can manage everything all by myself. Weird. And then he says, and that's why I can do it so cheap. I'm going to save you a bunch of money. Oh, okay. Now, I don't know about you, but right about now, I think I might have jumped off the gurney and ran for the door. Okay. I think that's what I would have done. If you would have hit the door, type door in the chat, right? There is no way on this green earth that I was going to let that doctor perform my surgery, right? So let me ask you a question. I know this is far-fetched, right? And you're like going, Lisa, it's a weird story, but it kind of resonated, didn't it? So why is it not weird to us that essentially we're trying to do the same thing? Why is it not weird to us that we should not be doing all those roles? Because when you look at a doctor, for instance, they're typically highly paid, well-respected, and pretty laid back. They work maybe 9 to 5, depending on the type of doctor they are, to get paid, right? When I started to get busy in my business, this was me. I resisted hiring people and I tried to do every single thing myself. And it's funny, and maybe this will resonate with you. It's funny, intuition surely was screaming at me that I was doing the wrong thing. And here's why I say that. When I would talk to customers, I would typically say things like, yeah, so, okay, we're going to do that. I'll get my team to handle that. Okay, we're going to do this. Let me talk to my team and see what we want to do. In the beginning, I would say those things, and I am embarrassed to tell you right now, I didn't have a team. I was making a team up in my talk with the customer because I knew deep down that's what the right thing was to do, apparently. Or why would I have done it? If I felt like being a solopreneur and doing everything myself was the right thing to do, why did I lie? Why did I tell customers my team, my great team, when I didn't have one, right? So what happened? How did I stop and take off all those hats? Well, and if you've heard me tell the story, I probably haven't gone into this detail, but I really want to help you guys today and tell you, kind of give you what happened to make me realize. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to fix it all. Obviously, that's what our program's about. But I do want to tell you how I came to a realization that was almost like someone taking a board and hitting me, kind of to let me know, hey, wake up, right? So the universe kind of hooked me up in a way. A business coach literally fell in my lap, right? I don't think I would have taken that step on my own had that not happened. I was at a networking event, right? So I used to belong to Business Before Breakfast, go once a week. And there was a coach in that group. And the coach had talked about coaching and services. I'd probably been in that group a year or two. So here I was around this coach, and that's what they did for a living. They coached other businesses. And when this coach would talk to me, I would, in my head, think, I don't know why this guy's talking to me. I mean, I know everything, right? I'm good at what I do. I know what I do. I ran a giant team at a giant Fortune, 500 company. I don't need help. And I remember just thinking, I don't need this, right? But then one day he was presenting to the group, and we all got once or twice a year the opportunity to present to our group. And he made his presentation, and I kind of half paid attention, half didn't, because look, I don't need coaching. I don't need help. And then he said, everybody in this group, I am going to offer a free coaching session, right? So just let me know, no strings attached, no sales, just come in and we're going to spend 2 hours talking about your business and trying to figure out what's going on. Free, 100% free. I thought, yeah, I don't need this. So I didn't do anything. I waited. A couple months goes by. Really getting frustrated in the business, starting to really struggle, right? No matter how many hours of work, just couldn't get it done. And a little voice kept saying, just call this coach. Maybe that one session we'll have some tips. Just call this coach. So I did. I finally said, what the heck? I mean, it's free, right? I mean, what's the worst that happens? I waste 2 hours. So I go to that coaching session, and I'll be quite frank. I go there as defensive as anybody could be defensive. I go there with all my walls up and my barriers, thinking this guy has nothing to offer me because I know what I'm doing. I got this. I brought this company to 6 figures. I know how to do everything. This person has no tech skills, has not been in the industry the 20-something years I have. What could they possibly offer me? And in the session, what was interesting was we didn't focus on the things I thought a coach would focus on. Instead, it literally was a conversation to just see what was going on. And we talked about everything really about what I was doing in my day-to-day. What I did when I get up, and then what did I do? Okay, and then what happened? And okay, why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? And do you think that, is something you should be doing? And I started seeing kind of where the coach was going, but the coach was very not hands off, but very chill. Wasn't really pushing buttons, wasn't really trying to get me to say anything. It didn't feel like therapy or anything. It just felt like somebody trying to get a handle on, I need to learn your business, so I'm asking you a bunch of questions. The interesting thing that happened though is as I started answering the questions, it's like somebody had a giant bell hanging over my head and was like hitting it every single time, just hitting it like ding. You seriously have to be hearing what you're saying. That's almost like what it was like, hey, so Lisa, let me ask you, what is going on here? And I would say, well, I'm having clients, they just don't understand what it is we're selling. So it's really hard to close deals. Okay, so let me understand that. And he would dig in and ask me questions about, okay, what were you doing and how you were doing it and why you were doing it. And again, he didn't tell me a darn thing on what I should do. He never prescribed anything. He never said, well, you should do this and you should do that. It was more of a conversation to just get a feel of where I was. So at the end of the session, we didn't solve anything. It just felt very cathartic. I chose to go ahead and sign up to come see the coach monthly. Again, I was still a little susceptible to all the fears and I didn't really want to spend the money. It was, something like $500 an hour. And I was like, man, that's crazy. But something about the session just kept telling me, this is the right thing to do. I spent the next 1.5 years monthly meeting with this coach. And here's kind of what I want you to know about this. It literally took me 1.5 years to come to one simple thing that I needed to understand. And I had to understand it, right? He couldn't tell it to me. He couldn't write it. Nobody could tell me this. I had to understand it. And it was that you are the business owner. And how he illustrated that I had to stop doing the roles was I kept complaining. So I would be in a session and say, man, I'm just so tired. Like, I'm just tired of working. I don't have enough hours. Well, Lisa, we need to talk about how to create processes for your business. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to make processes. Okay, I can understand that. So how do we make more time for you? I remember being mad in some of the sessions. I remember walking away thinking, WTF, right? Like, what is this guy now? And resisting and not wanting to do it. And most people, and what I had to realize and what you might be struggling with is it didn't come down to the fact that I didn't know I should be doing it. It came down to the fact that I was afraid to do it for whatever reason. And in our program, we heavily go into beliefs because of this. I had so much baggage and so many problems and so many preconceived notions and everything about the reason why I wasn't delegating and hiring people. I made excuses. Oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have money. I don't have enough time to train them. I don't have this. I don't have that. And this coach systematically and calmly, and I think that's the key, just helped me understand, no, that's not true. And it wasn't until one session, we were sitting there and he got out a big old, I don't know, one of those flip papers, got out a big old flip paper. And he said, okay, time seems to be a recurring theme with you. I'd like to solve your time problems right now. So let's talk about it. So we sat there, he's got his little flip chart, we're going through, and he said, tell me one thing, just one thing you do right now, today, that you know you could give to somebody else and you would, you might have to train them, but you feel like you could give away that particular thing. And I thought about it. I said, well, I do have some developers. And by that time I had hired a couple of VAs. I said, I have some developers and I think they can do the work and that kind of thing. But what I'm struggling with, and the thing that takes up the majority of my time, is managing the customers and then 2 developers, managing those developers. It's like, I can't go out and get more business, or I can't do this. And I heard myself saying, I can't do this because I'm constantly managing those people. And about a month before, him and I had worked and really came up with what it takes to do everything. And so he came down and said, okay, how long does it take you to do that? And we did the numbers. All right. And how long does it take the developer to do this? And we did the numbers. And how much do you charge for that service? And he did the numbers. And all the while he's writing all this down. And he said, okay, so let's figure this out. How much did you make on that? He comes down at the end, he does the math, and he says to me, awesome. Did you know you made $16 an hour? I was like, what? Yeah, you make $16 an hour. That's your hourly wage for doing this. That's how much you're getting paid an hour. I don't even know the feeling. I think I was mortified. I was embarrassed standing in front of someone, realizing that I, the business owner, made all the decisions. And he did it in such a subtle way. It's almost like you don't know what's happening. And at the end, you're like going, man, you got me. But it wasn't a bad, you got me. It was like I need to change that. How do we change that? And it was that moment I remember that I finally, we're talking a year and a half after paying somebody this type of money, I finally said, I need help. We need to figure this out. Like that's when I finally put my guard down. I literally was paying to go fight somebody. I was paying to make up excuses on why I couldn't do this. I was paying money to learn what I needed to do and then not do it. But something about $16 an hour, man, that brought it home, right? And I had known that number already. I'd already known that number because I'd done work. I'd read a book before. But then he gave, after he did that, he gave me the number. He goes, okay, so just so you know, your return on investment, what you make, your profit margin. And he taught me about profit margin. He says, your profit margin on website design, man, it's 13%. I'm like, what? He's like, 13%. I'm like, okay, is that good or bad? Listen, I didn't know anything about business. I was not trained in business. So yeah, your profit margin is about 13%. I said, okay, what does that mean? He said, well, most businesses want to get at least 50%. But businesses like Walmart and Amazon, they tend to get anywhere from 70 to 90% profit margin. Now think about that. For every dollar you spend, it costs them 10 cents on average. They're making 90 cents. And that's why Walmart can have those low prices or, because they have their act together. Going through the process, going through the coaching, going through the number. And over the years, I did try to hire someone to fill that role because the number one role I needed to fill based on everything we talked about was that project manager. And I tried people. And the same thing, I would come in and talk to my business coach and say, okay, well, yeah, this person's not working out. Okay, Lisa, so what's not working out? Literally, it was like therapy, but I didn't realize it. What's not working out? Well, it's like, I tell them to go get this done and they don't get it done. Okay. Did you show them how to do that? I'm like, well, no, but they said they were experienced at this. Well, I understand that, but do you have a process? Do you have something written down? Well, kind of. We started working on processes. Now, I went through a couple people, not because the people were bad, but because I wasn't set up to be a business owner. I wasn't acting like a business owner. I wasn't doing the things that business owners do. And I grew out of that coach, meaning I got to a point where the coach couldn't really help me anymore with where I was at, because I had finally grown to where we had a team and I had people doing things and I had all of the positions starting to get filled that were going to help me actually run my business and help me be the business owner that she gets 50, 60, 70% profit margin. Let's face it, we're small businesses. 90% profit margin is probably not in our future, but 50 to 70% is, right? And so the moral of this story, and I know I got a little off track there, but the moral of the story is, and I know I didn't tell you every single step by step how I fixed it. We can't do that in these Monday mindsets. No matter how much I would love to, it would take us years doing it this way, okay? The moral of this is success comes much easier when you have a coach, right? Success comes much easier when you have a plan, when you have steps to follow, when you have a guide. My coach was really the key to getting me in the right mindset, to getting me to understand that business requires me to be an owner, not to be a developer, not to be an artist, not to be accounting, sales, HR. That's not my role. That's not my job. And if I continue to do those things, I'm going to fail. And maybe I'll fail successfully. Listen to that for a minute. Maybe I'll fail successfully because I'm making money, but I'll fail miserably in my life. And that's what was happening before I got on the right path, right? I was making a lot of money, but I was failing to enjoy my life. I was failing to be the type of business that you can enjoy, right? And that coach, that experience allowed me to start understanding I need to be smart and I need to be a CXO. So I ended up reducing, as you heard, my workload by about 800%. In my instance, I was actually able to increase my revenue by almost 10 times, working 800% less. That's insane for me to think about today, but I'm here to tell you it was not a short journey. This coach I speak of, I met 5 or 6 years ago, and it took the last 5 or 6 years. Technically, it took 8 years for me to go on my entire journey before I kind of got it, before I really was able to build a business that was a real business, right? I wasn't just working on the side anymore. I wasn't just, having this small little thing. Doesn't matter if you're making $2 or $2 million. A real business has a real leader at the front. And that's what I had to become, right? Now, a private coach is amazing, right? Having a private coach is amazing. But here's what I learned in that as well. Not only is it expensive, okay, and you don't need to spend that kind of money, it's also very limiting on what you learn. Because once I started realizing I needed help, aside from that coach, I actually started joining different types of masterminds and I started buying different types of programs because I learned that that was a one-sided experience. And while I needed that, I could have done that in a group setting, done it faster and cheaper, right? And I'll be frank, I would love to be your coach, but I don't do one-on-one coaching. And there's a reason, right? There's a reason, because while I will have one-on-one sessions with everyone who signs up for one of my programs, to me, I think it's a big part of the programs, meaning, and if you've been to one of these, some of you guys have already been to these, I want to figure out where you're at. So I make sure we have a plan for you on where you want to go. And then our programs help you get there, right? So whether you join one of our programs or any program, you need to have somebody that can not only show you what to do, but that can change your mind too, right? So when you're reading books, when you're buying things, when you're thinking about following gurus, the one thing that I learned along my path, and by the way, I don't consider myself a guru, just so you know, I'm just one of you guys who are just a little ahead of you, right? What I figured out is I need a well-rounded education, so to speak. I needed not just to figure out the step by step, but I also needed to figure out what was going on up here that was causing me not to move forward. What was going on up here to cause me to literally pay $500 an hour to go sit and argue about why I thought I was right and this coach I was paying was wrong. Like, why would you do that? Right? So to me, group coaching has always, been the better fit. So after that, I started going to more group coaching and I find it to be better. Now, that doesn't mean I don't from time to time still hire a personal coach. I do. When I need a very specific skill, I will go hire that personal coach that I know has that skill I'm trying to learn because I want to get it fast. But for the most part, I learned that you just need to take that step, right? The first step is recognizing there's a lot of hats stacked up on my head. If each one of those hats weighs something, I don't care what it is. If you wear it for a short time, it doesn't feel so heavy, does it? Doesn't feel so heavy. A good example would be like, take anything and put it in the palm of your hand, whether it be that hat or anything. Hold it for about 3 minutes. Does it feel heavy? Nope. Okay, take that same object, put it in your hand. Now I want you to hold it for about 30 minutes. Is it getting heavier? Okay, now keep holding it for 3 hours. How heavy is it getting? Let's add another object. Keep holding it for 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, right? All those hats on our head, the longer we wear them, the heavier they get, right? The more our business feels like we can't do this. And that's where I got to. Like, I can't do this. If this is owning a business, this sucks. I had to learn. I always have to introspectively ask myself, is it me? Like, I start there. Is it me? If there's a problem in the business, is it me? Is there a problem with a customer? Is it me? Is there a problem with staff or contractors? Is it me? If I can deduce it's not me, then I can look at the problem with clear eyes. But I never, ever look to anything else until I've looked within. Am I the problem? Am I holding this back? Am I part of the problem? Sometimes just taking myself out is the solution, okay? All right. We're getting past our time, so I kind of want to close up here. Remember, that's why I actually created the Agency Fast Track X Success program. I'm looking at the names, and a lot of you guys are in it. Some of you guys aren't, but it's a group coaching program. And yes, I do talk about my programs. I'll give you guys extreme value every single week. And in return, I will talk about my programs. This is a group coaching program. It is not a course. It is literally a coaching program. And it has limited seats in it. So every time we do it, we only allow a certain number of people in it because I want to be able to give every person who joins those one-on-one sessions that we offer. And I can't do that with too many people, okay? Now, during that program, it's a step-by-step program. I basically cover everything I learned on my journey to success, how to solve all the problems you're probably experiencing, how to take hat after hat off and put it somewhere else, or find solutions that don't include you. That's really what the program was designed to do. And we try to teach everything in a manner that makes it simple. The one thing we don't do, and I want you not to do now, is we don't blame. Nobody's at fault for where you are today. In fact, celebrate all the hats you're wearing, celebrate the frustrations, because most people would have quit a long time ago. But don't stay there, right? Don't stay stuck where you are, right? I'm going to help you implement everything you're learning along the way. And again, I know a lot of you guys are in there, so I'm just reiterating to those of you guys right now that are listening, that are already in the program. Hopefully when you come on Mondays, you get extra value. I try to make these to where I'm not repeating anything that I've already done in the program, so you get that extra value. This is basically a group coaching program on steroids, and we have helped over 150 businesses. And remember, we take a small group. Now, why am I telling you this? Because now normally I don't talk so much about the program, but we're coming up to the next wave. In less than 8 weeks, we're going to be opening up the next wave of the program. We're going to be opening up the doors again for those who are ready, those who want to get that group coaching for a fraction of the cost I had to pay for it. We're going to get you on the fast track, working 800% less. That's our goal, right? Or whatever your number is, but making more money, right? We don't want to work less and make less. We want to work less and make more, okay? And this program is what I have. We're going to clearly define the strategy for your success and all those good things. So with that said, if you would like to know when that program opens, type fast track in the comments if you haven't already told me or you are not already on our list. And we do have a list because the people on the list get offered first. So you're going to get an exclusive, you get first shots at actually signing up for the program. And if there's no spots at the end, we're done, right? And nobody else will get in it. So that's why we do that. For people who come every week, for people who are already investing, I want to make sure you guys get your spot. So you just type fast track. If you're watching the replay, do the same thing. All right. So if you got value out of this, put value. I want you to type value in the chat. I don't care who you are or when you're watching. Please type value. And I ask that because I want to know and make sure I'm providing value, whether you join a program or in a program or never want to go to one of our programs. This is not a sales call every week. This is a value call. And I want to make sure you're getting it. Awesome. Seeing a lot of value. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Awesome. Guys, I hope this Monday Mindset gets your week off to an amazing start. I hope it gets your head like really going. It gives you that, like I'm ready. Let's go hit our businesses this week. There was a reason I chose 10 a.m. Central Time for me, because this actually pumps me up for the week. This gets me going. I like to spend it with you guys. Remember, when you change your mind, that's when you change your business. Okay. All right, guys, thanks for joining me every Monday. And when you can, have a productive and highly profitable week, everyone. And I will see you next week.